BPC-157 is exploding online as the miracle peptide for muscle growth and recovery. YouTubers and influencers are hyping it as the next big performance enhancer. Some say it accelerates injury healing. Others say it improves blood flow in the body. Even scientists have performed studies on animals, especially rats, showing increased tissue repair and faster muscle recovery. That alone has made people wonder if this is the first real shortcut the body has ever had to healing. And honestly, that curiosity is valid. So today, I'm gonna show you the real mechanism behind the peptide, what the research supports, what remains unproven, and how it's typically used. Before we get into what BPC-157 actually does, we need to talk about why people are so desperate for something like this in the first place. And it comes down to one belief that almost everyone holds. Tissue healing is slow, and there's nothing you can do to speed it up. You see, you pull a muscle and the doctor tells you the same thing every time. Rest, ice, physical therapy, and wait 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, maybe even longer depending on how bad it is. You ask if there's anything you can do to heal faster, and the answer is always no. Your body heals at the rate it heals, you just have to be patient. But it's just an assumption, and there are some biological reasons for this assumption. Tendons and ligaments have very low blood supply compared to muscles. Blood carries oxygen and nutrients. Without good blood flow, the cells in those tissues can't get what they need to repair quickly. That's why tendon and ligament injuries take so long to heal compared to muscle injuries. It's not just about the damage, it's about the infrastructure. The delivery system is slow. Standard recovery timelines also reinforce this belief. If you Google any sort of soft tissue injury, you'll see the same numbers. 4 to 6 weeks for a minor strain, 8 to 12 weeks for a moderate tear, 4 to 6 months for a major rupture. These timelines are based on decades of clinical observation. Doctors have watched thousands of injuries heal, and they know roughly how long it takes. So, when they give you a timeline, they're not guessing. They're telling you what history says will happen. And because aging, inflammation, and poor circulation slow everything down further, people assume their body's repair mechanisms are inherently limited. But animal research over the last 2 decades has shown something very different. They discovered something that challenged this idea that healing is naturally slow. Scientists discovered that if you activate a process called angiogenesis, healing doesn't just improve a little bit, it accelerates dramatically. Angiogenesis is your body's natural ability to grow new blood vessels. Think of it as building new roads to deliver more oxygen and nutrients exactly where they're needed. When new blood vessels grow into an injured tendon or ligament, those tissues suddenly have access to resources they normally lack. And when that delivery system improves, healing speeds up. BPC-157 became a focus of research because it consistently activated angiogenesis in animal studies. In rats with tendon or ligament injuries, the peptides increased VEGF, the signaling molecule that tells your body to grow new capillaries. With more VEGF, the injury sites, rats began forming new blood vessels faster than untreated rats. More vessels meant more oxygen, more nutrients, and more raw materials for repair. The healing didn't just happen quicker, it happened more efficiently. Once angiogenesis improved, something else followed naturally: inflammation control. Inflammation is supposed to help with healing, but when it lingers too long, it slows everything down. In the rat studies, BPC-157 helped normalize this process. It reduced the kind of chronic inflammation that delays recovery while still allowing the early helpful inflammatory response to do its job. This 1-2 effect, better blood flow plus regulated inflammation, is a major reason researchers saw faster repair across soft tissues. This is why BPC-157 became one of the most studied peptides for tissue repair. There are now over 30 peer-reviewed animal studies exploring its regenerative effects. The evidence is strong, the mechanisms make sense, the results are repeatable across multiple studies. And here's what makes this particularly relevant. The biological mechanisms BPC-157 activates, angiogenesis, VEGF signaling, inflammation modulation, aren't unique to rats. They are fundamental healing processes that exist in humans' tissues too. The real question becomes, does it activate the same pathways as effectively in humans, and what does the early evidence suggest? This is where the conversation gets interesting, because while we're still waiting on large-scale human trials, clinical observations are starting to paint a picture. Online, BPC-157 is promoted like a breakthrough. You see dramatic recovery stories, influencers talking about it, healing injuries in record time, and people claiming it helped them when nothing else worked. These stories spread fast because they're relatable. When you're dealing with chronic pain or slow healing, anything that offers hope that feels like worth exploring. And because peptides are new to most people, there's a natural curiosity around them. What they are, how they work, and why so many people in performance and recovery circles are turning to them. It's true that we don't have large published placebo human trials yet. Moreover, scientists are still working to understand how closely the effects seen in animals translate to human physiology. Here's the important part. The gap isn't whether these mechanisms exist in humans. We know angiogenesis works in human tissue. We know VEGF signals promotes blood vessel growth in humans. We know regulated inflammation improves healing outcomes in humans. The question is simply whether BPC-157 activates these pathways as effectively in human tissue as it does in animal models. And while formal large-scale trials are still needed, physicians working with BPC-157 in clinical practice have observed recovery patterns that align with those predicted by animal research. Athletes dealing with chronic soft tissue issues have reported improvements that mirror the accelerated timelines observed in laboratory studies. Patients who weren't responding to conventional treatments have seen meaningful changes in recovery speed. These observations don't replace controlled trials, but they do suggest that the translation from animal to human may be stronger than typical peptide research would predict. Yes, BPC-157 is still being formally studied in humans, and the scientific community is working to validate its full potential through rigorous trials. But at the same time, people are already using it, clinics are already offering it under physician oversight, and it's circulating widely in recovery and performance communities because the mechanistic foundation makes biological sense. And that brings up a bigger question. If BPC-157 is just one peptide with this much potential, what else is out there? BPC-157 shows us something most people don't realize about the body. Your repair systems can run faster than you think. Blood vessels can be accelerated, inflammation can be regulated instead of just suppressed, tissue healing timelines aren't fixed biology, they're limited by what signals your body is getting. The animal research on BPC-157 is one of the most consistent and reputable data we have on tissue repair acceleration. 30+ peer-reviewed studies, multiple research institutions, results that show faster tendon healing, improved ligament repair, better blood vessel formation at injury sites. That level of scientific consistency is rare. Most compounds that get hyped online maybe have 1 or 2, 3 small studies backing them. BPC-157 has a growing body of evidence that keeps pointing in the same direction. That's why researchers are so interested in moving this into human trials. And the mechanisms make biological sense. When you improve blood flow to an area of injury and regulate inflammation at the same time, healing speeds up. That's not controversial. That's basic physiology. BPC-157 just seems to activate those pathways more efficiently than we've seen with other compounds in animal studies. BPC-157 is just one peptide. There are others already being used in clinical settings that target completely different systems. Some peptides support gut lining repair, which affects everything from nutrient absorption to inflammation function. Others regulate sleep architecture, the deep stages where your body does most of its recovery work. Some focus on reducing systemic inflammation without shutting down the immune response you actually need. Others improve mitochondrial function, which determines how much energy your cells have to repair themselves in the first place. Peptides work differently than supplements or drugs. A supplement gives your body raw materials and hopes it knows what to do with them. A drug forces a reaction whether your body needs it or not. But a peptide is a signaling molecule. It tells your cells to activate pathways they already have, but might not be running efficiently because of age, stress, poor circulation, or chronic inflammation. People in recovery and performance circles have been using peptides for years because they work with the body's existing systems instead of overriding them. You're turning up the volume on processes that are already there but running too slow. But peptides aren't one size fits all. The same mechanism that makes them effective also makes them something you can't randomly order online and hope for the best. A peptide that works for gut repair won't do anything for sleep quality. A peptide designed for blood vessel growth won't fix insulin resistance. And using the right peptide at the wrong dose or combining peptides without understanding how they interact with your current health markers can waste time and money on something that won't deliver results. Most people make the mistake of seeing a peptide trend online, reading a few testimonials, ordering it themselves, and starting to experiment. No blood work, no clinical oversight, no strategy behind when you use it, how long you use it, or what to monitor while using it. Peptides work best when they're matched to what your body actually needs right now. Your hormone levels, your gut integrity, your inflammation markers, your sleep quality, your circulation, your mitochondrial output, because peptides don't work in isolation. They work within a system. And if that system is broken in other places, adding a peptide won't fix it. Vibe Wellness was built specifically for this. Our practitioners don't treat peptides as shortcuts or miracle solutions. They look at the full picture: sleep quality, gut integrity, hormone stability, mitochondrial output, stress response. These factors influence how well someone heals long before peptides ever come into the picture. If that peptide makes sense, it's sourced through legitimate pharmacy-grade channels, prescribed with proper clinical oversight, and integrated into a plan built around what your body actually needs. Because sometimes the right answer isn't a peptide at all. Sometimes the right answer is improving circulation, lowering systemic inflammation, fixing nutrient deficiencies, or addressing root causes that slow down repair. And sometimes it's a combination where peptides become one piece of a larger strategy built around data instead of guesswork. So, where is your body actually breaking down right now? Is it your recovery pathway, your hormone balance, your gut integrity, your inflammation response, your circulation? Most people don't know. And when you're guessing which system is broken, you end up fixing the wrong piece or only addressing one while the other three stay compromised. We created this cellular health quiz to solve this. It takes less than 3 minutes, tells you exactly which systems are holding you back based upon what you're experiencing right now, how your energy feels, how fast you recover, whether inflammation is an issue, how your metabolism is functioning. Take